Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carl, and we are Group 7. Our topic is about how the workforce has evolved as a result of the increase of millennials in the workforce. Before I move on, just want to give you a quick overview about the structure of our presentation. The first part of the presentation will give you an overview about the millennials, what they value, and what their personalities are. And the second part will be the hiring process for the millennials done by my teammate Victoriana. While the third part will be on the corporate social responsibility, CSR for short, by Gloria. Following that will be marketing strategies presented by Simon. And lastly, Leanne will talk about interior design and amenities. So first, what is the value of millennials? You have probably heard of the stereotypical millennial values such as work-life balance, freedom, and of course, recognition. The key for millennial value is they want to feel important, they want to be worthy of a person to the society. Research has shown that they have a rather self-centered personality, which in a way support their values because from a personality standpoint, they want self-growth and to be better to provide value. To confirm this, I talked with my sister who graduated with a master's degree and has been working in HSBC for about 4 years. She revealed that she had her friends all wish to get more informational resources and more connection from the companies they are in. Also, they tend to filter out those who fail to provide any of these. Therefore, switching job is very common among the millennials. While her answer is roughly the same with the stereotypical value most millennials have, such value does show their lack of loyalty and sincerity towards the organization. Since the older generations, the baby boomer, are willing to dedicate time and energy to their career and organization through sacrificing and leisure time. Certainly, when facing millennials' value, they will dislike their constant change and extreme behaviors, which will lead to conflict. When I asked my sister about how she and her friends handle the conflict, the answers are pretty much expected. They will choose to avoid the conflict and value their own perspective, no matter who is wrong. As we have learned, avoiding is the least cooperative method to resolving conflict. That's why I wonder, why did the millennial have such a self-centric personality? The biggest cause may be the exposure to technology such as cell phones and computers from a very young age. Therefore, the influence of social media would likely change their value and perspective drastically. That may be why they have such low tolerance to the addictions, because they spend most of their time browsing social media and wish to become that someone they wish to be. With the future generation exposing to media at an even younger age, such trend from millennial is indeed troubling. Now I will give it to Victoriana, who will talk about the hiring policy for millennials. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Victoriana, and I'll be talking to you about how hiring policies have been modified to accommodate for more millennials joining the employee base. I'll be talking about how organizations advertise their job positions, how interviewing processes have been modified, as well as who is hired. The typical advertising method used to be posting an ad on a newspaper for a job position. However, nowadays, with a more technology shift, millennials are more likely to be looking for job positions on websites. So companies have been following those values of millennials and advertising on their websites, as well as promoting what they offer to employees on their websites. A good example is a company called Kabam that is based out of Vancouver, and it's an app developing company. And on their hiring page, they promote how they provide health plans for employees. They have in-job education, as well as retirement plan and in-house training. Interviewing processes have also shifted over the years, where it just used to be the typical manager interviewing a prospective employee. However, as well as in-person interviews nowadays, there's a lot of modified interviewing methods, such as online interviews and group interviews. A lot of companies advertise that they have accessibility certified buildings and provide a lot of accommodations for prospective employees. A very good example is Google, where in their frequently asked questions in their hiring page, they have the question, what if I need an accommodation for the interview? And Google easily provides an ASL interpreter or provides accommodations for a service animal with the employee, or if somebody needs a wheelchair accessible hotel room, they will provide that. Who is hired has also changed over the years, where companies value diversity, equity, and inclusion a lot more. So they make sure prospective employees are aware that inclusiveness is a big matter for those companies, and people will not be discriminated against their gender, sexuality, whether they're able or disabled, and their beliefs or religion. Again, a very good example is Google. And in their Google careers page, they have a disclaimer that everybody gets an equal opportunity when they apply to Google, no, regardless of their race, color, ancestry, religion, sex, national origin, sexual orientation, age, and so on. Next, Gloria will be talking to you about corporate social responsibility.
In the following section, I would like to focus on the development of corporate social responsibility, which is an indicator of organizational and workplace change, what kind of relationship it has with millennials, and why CSR can be used as a strategy to influence millennials' choice when they enter the workplace. According to the Investopedia website, corporate social responsibility is a self-regulating business model that helps a company be socially accountable to itself, its stakeholders, and the public. Also, by practicing CSR, companies can be conscious of the kind of impact they are having on all aspects of society, including economic, social, and environmental. While searching for references, we found that many researchers explicitly state the increasing importance of CSR in their reports, and one reason behind the change is that the application of CSR benefits organizations. According to Emmett and Woolman, CSR not only helps to increase one organization's reputation and reliability, but also strengthen employee engagement and attract talent. For the sake of resisting employees' bad behaviors at work, such as evading and absenteeism, a growing number of organizations consider utilizing and increasing CSR investment related to employees to solve these issues. In terms of employee responsibility, millennials and previous generations have different performance and attitudes. For millennials, they are more inclusive, diverse, cooperative, and contributing to society. Also, the main purpose of finding jobs for millennials nowadays is no longer just to afford their expenses, but to work in an organization with similar values to themselves and further realize their value to society. Organizations that undertake social responsibility will be more favored by millennials in recruitment because it is in line with millennials' expectations for the organization and also helps them to participate in employee-related CSR activities to contribute their strengths. So, through the analysis of CSR and millennials, we have noticed that an increasing number of organizations value CSR, not only because undertaking social responsibility benefits organizations themselves, but also because as millennials entering the workplace, their pursuit for higher meaning of work and their concern for the general public make organizations take into account social responsibility and business ethics in the development of corporate culture, not just for profit. So that's my part. In the following section, Simon will give us an introduction about marketing and millennials.
Hello everyone. Since they have talked about the aspect inside the company, I would like to discuss the external approach, which is marketing to millennials. As time goes by, millennials would comprise 3/4 of the global workforce by 2025. This situation makes millennials become the main consumer of today's society. Before we talk about the marketing strategies to millennials, we need to know what do they care about for the consumption. Millennials' consumption has three main concerns. The first one is word of mouth. Nowadays, online shopping has become the main consumption channel for many millennials. Consumers can evaluate products on online shopping platforms and easily obtain real product information from other consumers. While in the past, information is limited. Consumers could only obtain information from the merchants or their friends. Both commodities and information enrichment make millennials pay more attention to the word of mouth. The second concern is the social influence of the company. Millennials pay more attention to the public opinion in society. This leads them to take care about the company's credibility and social influence. And this social influence include stuff like public welfare activities, environmental problem handling, and so on. Last but not least, millennials care about the value of products rather than the price. Each brand has its own product positioning. Brands can be used to express social status. For example, in automobile consumption, people often think that the owner of the Mercedes-Benz or BMW have a certain economic strength. Millennials usually care about their social status, and so they focus more on the value of the product. After understanding these concerns of millennials, companies made some marketing strategies to attract them. The first one is the multi-channel sales. Millennials prefer to shop online, which has led many companies to develop online business. With the increase of the online shopping platforms, companies cooperate with multiple platforms to expand their potential customers. Secondly, companies try to improve the word of mouth. The quality of products is difficult to be improved because this is related to many operational activities. In addition to the product quality, more and more companies provide warranties and improve their after-sales service. This is all the discussion about marketing. Next, Liam will talk about the company's design and amenities.
Nowadays, millennials make up a large proportion of the workforce, and the size of the millennial workforce only continues to grow. Therefore, their values that differ greatly from the values of older generations have a considerable influence on workplaces. Generally, millennials are known for their focus on themselves, as Carl mentioned earlier, as well as being an unconventional and more informal generation. And these values are reflected in some of the changes in the workplace that I will outline. Organizational structure is a big part of a company's operations, and more companies have shifted towards a flatter organizational structure. Why? Because this structure benefits both the employer and the employee, and it really satisfies millennial values. First of all, for the employer, it is more cost-effective to have less levels of management as you need to hire a smaller management team. And it satisfies millennial values in the way that they value autonomy and better communication. Millennials enjoy the freedom of not having to go through multiple managers to make one decision when they're working. So this is one quote that is very applicable to how millennials value autonomy by PricewaterhouseCoopers research. They state that millennials tend to be uncomfortable with rigid corporate structures. So another major change in workplaces that has emerged as companies try to incorporate millennial values is that many workplaces are much more casual. A main millennial value is flexibility. A decade ago, many workplaces would impose a strict dress code where people would have to wear suits to work. But nowadays, a lot of the time, it's completely acceptable to wear business casual clothing, or there's even events such as jeans days or casual Fridays. Many workplaces have also become much more flexible in terms of hours and their employees working remotely, as we can see from COVID-19 and how well that is working out. It is no longer a strict 9 to 5, and some companies are even experimenting with 4-day work weeks. Finally, as Carl mentioned earlier, millennials value work-life balance a lot nowadays. So people often say that millennials lack in loyalty or work ethic. However, millennials just want to maintain a social life as well as a career. Many companies have integrated ways to combine work and leisure. There's often happy hours on Fridays in a lot of workplaces, or even work retreats. Many companies have also added unique amenities to the workplace, such as nap pods or game rooms. And one of the most famous examples of this is Google. It's often referred to almost having an adult playground as a workplace. And here's just a few more photos of the Googleplex.
Our team's recommendations to promote a more millennial-based workforce are the following. Admittedly, millennials prefer to be self-sufficient. So within organizations, they need to be disciplined away from their self-centered ways and convinced to be more cooperative. To attract more millennials, businesses overall should promote online resources and stray away from backwards means such as newspapers. Also, there should no longer be any tolerance for discrimination. Organizations are supposed to develop CSR whenever their capabilities and conditions permit, especially for organizations in low-income countries. In order to attract millennial consumers, businesses should adopt multi-channel sales and provide better after-sales services. This marks the end of our presentation on how organizations have shifted to accommodate a more millennial-based workforce. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.